so embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win, like lots of stems popping it like oxygen when boxes wet. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move in a pencil, choose what I give to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up if we running it, maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily, envision that pay me is never the
Season 5 is here, and this is Divots and Pivots. I am Andrew LeDuc, joined, as always, by Bud Copeland, and this show, as always, is brought to you by our friends Acorn Hills. If you're not familiar with Acorn Hills, from all the time you spent with us last season, this is your first time hearing them. Acorn Hills, go over to acornhillscode.com. Use TBFY15. I believe it's 15, right, Bud? 15 is the number 15 for 15% discount off your order. Acorn Hills, changing the way golf apparel is made, sold, and sustained, and it has a place in this world. We love Nate and the guys over there. So you go check them out once again, acornhillsco.com. And that is who brings us our show every time. And this is Divots and Pivots. Like I said, Bud, welcome back. Season 5 here. Season 4 in the books. It was a great year last year, but let's be honest, we already have a platform of news to get to, but we'll get to the golf after first. Let's get caught up. How are you doing?
First things first, I'm the real. No, the Acorn Hills, I want to shout out real quick, Nate and the boys, the Founders Club. If it's a subscription box that they're doing, quarterly box. Right. I just got the last one, and the sweatshirt I got in there, I should have put it on. That's a miss, but I was wearing it yesterday because I've been wearing it. So yeah, give that a look too, the Founders Club. I'm speechless. The amount of news that is just kind of, it's almost like somebody's planning this. It's almost like they have professionals there over at the PGA Tour and TGL and Tomorrow Sports that's saying,
knew exactly when Divots and Pivots was going live. Let's be honest.
Yeah. All right. Let's pause because you're going to see this. We're here in Kennebunk, Maine, the bunkhouse, Witch City Studios. We left behind, in case you missed it, the second half of last season. Yep. I uprooted, came up to Maine. And we're going to just get slaughtered by some freezing stuff here tonight. And so I was outside putting together my brand new salt spreader. Got that sucker from the Home Depot. Sexy, son. It's worth it. I'm too old to be spreading like the old bird lady from Home Alone 2, just chucking bird seed out there. I had to put this together. And one of the things is they have these plastic handles. Now, if you're a Gen Xer, millennial, kid who grew up riding bicycles, you remember the old rubber handlebars, and they kind of had the little circular vertical strips on them that over time wore down. Yeah. They had like a nice, that really hard plastic butt on it. That's basically what these handles are. And I was sitting there and I'm trying to force one on. This is a good visual. That's a good visual. Yep. Somebody clip that out. I know exactly the motion. Okay. Anyway. We know that
I'm
motion.
Used to
the European grip upside down, so it feels like somebody else is doing it. No, I was sitting there and I'm listening to my Lord and Savior Dan Patrick and the Dan Patrick Show. He had Kyle Whittingham on, the new University of Michigan head coach. Go Blue! Yep. And I laughed at something as I was trying to put that on there, and I missed. Okay, I hit the butt of the plastic, but it wasn't completely on the end of the metal, so it slipped right past, caught my thumbnail, and just ripped it back, bent it back. I mean, we could check on it later on the show live.
I'm good. I'm a queasy man. I don't need to see that.
Well, let us know in the chat if you want to see the progress on Boudreaux's bloody thumb. Hashtag Boudreaux's bloody thumb.
That is a pain, though. When you even just forget, not even obviously peeling your fingernail back a little bit is painful, but even when you just get that little splinter underneath the fingernail, that is just a different kind of pain, not level, because let's be honest, pain is pain, whatever. But and in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. But it's when it comes to minor little inconveniences, that one sucks.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, my big ass gorilla hands. I try to say like I'm a tough guy. I grew up on the driving range, not slinging a hammer. When I'm trying to type now, and I got this big old makeshift bandaged thumb on there, and I need to get that fixed. So that's how things are going here at the bunkhouse. This offseason was, well, let me take a sip of this. Funny story about this too.
That's all right. I got the old school Divots and
old school DMP logo mug. The offseason, I went full blackout after the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup was hard for me. That's Sunday. I tried so hard not to have hope, and then they gave us hope. They gave us hope. What
I
were we
know,
supposed to do? It was mathematically there. The players were lining up, all the chips. I remember being probably one of the only optimistic guys going into the day, being like, I don't know, man, like crazier shit's happened. We've seen this. Then all of a sudden, everything that needed to happen happened. Then it was just nothing but red on the scoreboard, and people are like, we've already blocked this out. And what really fucked me up was the other day. It was New Year's. I had some friends over and stuff, and ESPN is, we're watching college football, and then after that, we're doing Sports Center, and they're doing end of year stuff, and they were doing like images from the year, and there's Shane Lowry fist pumping after making the winning putt.
I know.
It just felt like I got kicked in the taint.
As much as I love Shane Lowry, watching him celebrate like an international like that is just like, because he has that look of joy that is so pure that you just want it to be your team. So when he's going against you and you see him celebrating, it just feels like it hurts so much more because he just looks so genuinely happy with the sport of golf when he celebrates.
I kind of just want to give him a hug every time I see him. You know who else had a really good TGL? See, this is what I mean with my fat fingers. I can't TGL Golf League. Somebody else had a pretty decent offseason from that realm is Rory. His off season with Masters Jack has been good. He's had some good appearances. Kind of quiet. I think he was very gracious the other day when he said, like, yeah, of course, we'd love to have Brooks join us here at TGL. Like, he's not going back to live. Why not? And he even said it, like Frankie Borelli from Foreplay, because as if you needed, if you're listening to this show, then you know who Frankie
Borelli is. Yeah.
But he expressed it the way that I was going to express it. So I'll just echo his words. Like, good for Brooksy, man. Yeah. Like, this guy took the bag, took the slings and arrows, got, to spend his time in exile. And now he's still one of the boys, and he's back, and like, good for him, man.
And people still love him. That's the thing.
Yeah. Everybody still loves him. This is unfolding similar to how we've been talking the whole time. This is fun. It's flashy. It's splashy. It's not going to, what I'm curious about now is because the fact that there's that filler phrase for you writing kids out there, since the PIF has let this deal and everything just kind of go to shit, and due respect to this new CEO, I'm sure he's great. You don't get these jobs by just being some schmuck. The intern might come say hi. You don't get these jobs by just being some schmuck. The whole family's
about to walk in the door, so if you hear background noise, that's why I'm gonna mute myself while you talk.
No, it's fine. What I really love is framed up nicely is your plumbing right behind you. That's my favorite part of this screened-in shot.
Temporary. I had a background I was going to set up, and it's not working out. But yes, that's the good old stack back there.
The stack. All right, so what was that? Frankie Borelli's talking about, we all thought Brooksy was going to go into the exile and just, never be heard from again. And here he is front and center. So this new CEO, even Bryson is kind of being like, because they said, Bryson, Brooks is gone, or are you going to renew your contract? He's like, we'll see how it goes, which, and he even said, he goes, I could just go do YouTube golf and be just fine at this point, which we knew this was coming. It's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be the path. I think YouTube golf is still going to be dominated by Bob and the boys, and we'll get to that. We'll get to the Internet Invitational a little bit. But the 5 minutes of live. This is the beginning of the end. They're grabbing guys. They're grabbing guys from the tour now who are. They're doing the smart thing. They're just taking the buyout. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're kind of looking at it and they're going, I can struggle, or maybe, and it's just the buyout. When you're on DraftKings and you've got that heater and it's rolling and it's entering the fourth quarter, and there's a couple minutes left, but you see that buyout just jump, you're like,
yeah. But those are the same guys that they're not going to move the needle for live either. No, I don't care that and that's what we haven't even talked about yet too, is that they're making the changes that they've kind of, poo-pooed before. They're changing to 72 holes. All of a sudden, they're getting some hope from the world golf rankings. Like, they basically said that they're going to look at it. They're not saying it wasn't a negative thing, but it also wasn't positive. But it's the door is open there still. But they've missed that window to grab the needle movers. I think that time is gone, and they're just going to be another tour out there in the world.
They're gonna get their there we go. They're gonna get their world ranking points, because really the first time through, it wasn't so much It had to do with the lack of relegation, the lack of kind of a pathway in or out. And they've corrected that. They're going to 72 holes next year. Shocker.
Right. It also had to do with quite frankly, their pompous attitude about it all too. That played a role.
I would love I would love to be skeptical and say it did. But they didn't need it to play a role because it was almost like, you don't have the information on the application. We can't process it no matter what you try to write the check on the side. Yeah. So they fixed all it. They're going to get their points. They're just not going to be that many points. You got 60 guys, 50 guys. And to your point about the needle mover getting the hole, that's what he said. I think we got some female audience members. Either
that is Coop. We're
open.
The commish.
My guy. Speaking of the needle movers, when they went after the most recent needle mover, so they got Victor Perez. I love the Frenchman. He's a good story. If you're a golf dork like me, then you got these names: Thomas Dietrich, Victor Perez. These kind of European blood who came over to the States, and they probably are a little homesick. And the time off seems nice, and the money's also nice. Remember, it's not as guaranteed. It's not as big as it was. PIF said we're not writing those $100 million checks. These guys probably are still getting 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're getting a season or two's worth of guaranteed money to make this jump, with the option and the potential to win even more. So I understand it, but when they went after a needle mover, Akshay Bhatia, my Akshay, hands off. AB.
We knew AB would never leave you like that.
Out. Pardon my language. This is a family-friendly show, but I mean, I got excited emotionally, physically, if you know what I mean. When I saw sources, Akshay Bhatia turns down deal with Live Golf. This is from the Golf Channel. This is earlier today. Multiple sources have confirmed to golfchannel.com that Akshay Bhatia turned down a lucrative offer to join Live. Two-time PGA Tour has advanced to the Tour Championship the last 2 seasons and finished 2025 ranked 46th in the world. He would have been the Saudi-backed league's most high-profile signee in 2 years. All right, here it is. Frenchman Victor Perez joined Live in November. Laurie Cantor, I think we saw. I think Laurie Cantor might have been there before. No, different. Earned a PGA Tour status. Cantor was 63rd when he joined Live Golf. Okay, so there it is. They still got Johnny Rahm.
Sure, he's too new into his contract.
That was it, man. The failure to sign Bhatia or any other high-profile players deal comes interesting because they just lost. But it's over. It's all over.
Yeah, and then one of their other younger names that was making a name for himself, Mito Pereira, went ahead and retired at the age of 30. So that's that was like one of those where it's okay, he's young enough, maybe he moves the needle if he continues playing at that level.
Damn, it was an off season. I forgot about Mito checking out.
Mito checked out early.
In his part, some of it really was just kind of like the Andrew Luck syndrome of I was done, I was burnt out. Here's my question: if Mito Pereira doesn't go to Live, is he retiring from golf?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Because I haven't read the whole article about why he's retiring.
Who needs that?
I kind of looked at it just briefly and was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then I forgot to go back. But I would have.
Let's ask the old Chat GPT.
I would think that at his age and the way he was coming out fiery and playing when he was on the PGA still, I feel like if he still had that competitive fire of where he was on the PGA trying to climb, that would be kind of shocking, even more shocking to walk away from that at his age. So I don't know if it's a more personal or a medical reason or something, but it's obviously hard to speculate if he would or wouldn't if he was on the PGA instead of the Live. But either way, Mito Pereira was kind of a bright spot of up and coming, and we're not going to get that anymore.
He was one bad swing away from winning the PGA Championship at Southern Hills. One bad swing. And that's why I say, I think if he doesn't go to Live, he's still playing. So the old AI talking about it, the reasons that he stepped away: desire to step away from constant travel. I think he's got a young family, wants to stay home.
Sure.
Here's my question.
Whatever.
Yeah, I think.
As long as he's got another job lined up, I guess, right?
Well, if he's winning that gooch money, if he's got 40 mil in the bank and he's racking up wins on Live. Is the constant travel a burden, or is your wife and kid coming with you? Now, to be fair, I don't know his situation. He could have a real, see you next Tuesday on his hands. But I can also understand how if you are not playing well, distance from home just compounds that 10
sure.
times, tenfold. This is probably a huge one. Relegation from Live Golf 2025. Pereira finished outside the top 48 in the Live Golf standings, which means he was relegated from the tour.
Is that the new low point in golf, to be relegated out of Live? Like, is that the new rock bottom?
If you were one swing away from the PGA Championship a couple of years ago. That's my point. Is I think that he takes this money, maybe. Well, we hypothesized at the time, and I think it was accurate. There's a contingent amongst these Spanish or Spanish-speaking country golfers who they all share houses together. You know, we saw it in full swing,
right.
and
yep.
you know, and there was that element of come to the Fireballs, Sergio's here, and you know, whoever the hell else that was. Mm-hmm. So when you're not playing well, those guys can't pick up your spirits, because then it's also contagious. Where it's like, I don't know, you figure your shit out, man. Don't come near that evil juju.
Right. There's a lot.
I think he avoids all of this because he probably thought, I'll go do Live and I'll be good enough to just hang up there and get these majors. You know, I'll rack up some more majors. Or maybe he thought he was just going to take the bag and do his contract and then leave. But either way, another one bites the dust.
And I think the same thing.
And I think in large part to Live Golf. So we already alluded to Brooksy coming,
doing something.
Man, I don't think they're going to make him sit out a year. And
so I said that in the text too when that news broke. Let's be honest. I said let's be honest. That this has got to be posturing, because there was somebody said something about how it's not a guarantee. Like, he's going to probably not see the PGA Tour this year at all. Obviously, except for what he's already got an exemption for, but he's not going to be on the regular tour schedule this year at all, because they're going to have to figure this out and probably make him sit at least a year. But they're going to, then I doubt they're going to send him back through the ringer to get the tour card back. Like, this feels like it's going to be more of a, let's review your year and we will talk about lifting your suspension kind of thing. And then it'll be, once they just come to that decision, he'll be right back in, able to play any events he wants, basically.
So I take it all back. I was wrong. I think he will end up getting suspended for a year. His last appearance on Live was August, which I mean, so it goes back to August, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's got this year where he'll still be able to play in those majors because they're independent and he's exempt.
And the DP World Tour. Did you drop that in there? Yeah. So he's got status on the DP World Tour, so he'll be able to play there. He'll play his majors.
That's what I'm saying. I think after that year, it's not like they're going to make him go earn his PGA Tour card back. They're just going to lift the suspension and he'll be back.
Yeah. So I think we're going to get Brooksy back, which I'm okay with. I think Brooksy wants to get to double-digit majors. I think that's always been his goal. He's at 5, and I think he just saw Rory kind of get the monkey off his back and made him. There's been a lot of growing going on in the last 4 or 5 years of golf. We talk about like the Brooks Bryson feud that turned into really just kind of a lesson for all of us of don't be a dick to people just because they're different from you. You know, however that started, whoever started, whether it was Brooksy and his bro nature or Bryson and his pompous, arrogant, I'm smarter than you, I can see how either one can be lovable and not likable. So few of us left.
Well, and there was definitely fire to fuel to that fire. Like that feud existed. It wasn't made up. Let's be honest. Us in the media and the mainstream media, stoked it more. Like made it so much bigger than it probably was even to them. It was there. Well, that's why I said us. I said us and the mainstream media because I know.
Don't lump me in with those Martians.
But yeah, journalistic ethics. Media definitely made that much bigger feud than it really was. I mean, it was fun to watch, but I'm sure they had made up long before the media, allowed that to be seen.
Let's see, what is the chat GPT saying about the other big golf stories? I don't want to go. Oh, this is the other one. The Eugene. Okay, another. I'm sorry. Following up on the Live thing. This Chikara, Eugenico Chikara, former Live 2025 Live winner, re-enters PGA Tour event after. Yeah, it's like everybody wants back. All right, so we're done with Live. Live's over. TGL. TGL started. Have you watched any of it? Go Frogs.
So I missed the matchup tonight because I was driving to wrestling and I was doing some cleaning around before the show tonight. So I missed the one at 5:00. I'm out on the 5:00 start for the TGL. I'm out on that. Give me the 7:00 start, but the 5:00 start doesn't work for me personally. I don't like it. The only way that would work for me is if I happen to be at the gym watching while I'm on the treadmill. But let's be honest, I'm not. So I'm not here for the 5:00 start. From what I saw tonight, Atlanta Drive won, locked it up with 2 holes left in singles. 6-3, I think was the score at that point. I didn't see the rest of it. But Atlanta Drive won with Patrick Cantlay making his return to the team, the Hammer God. But the bigger news that, yes, I did watch the other night when our Boston Frogs got their first victory. They didn't get a single victory last year, but they got their first victory this year.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it's two reasons why. They nailed the hammer strategy. They learned from last year. But the reason why they nailed the hammer strategy and why it worked, they could be aggressive with it, was because newcomer, what's his name? Michael Thorbjornsen, putting lights out on that green. He was consistently making 10, 11, 12-foot more putts.
Robot.
In just clutch situations, hammer situations, he was the difference maker, because that was the one thing Boston really sucked at last year in the TGL, was they couldn't make a putt if their life depended on it. And that was the main reason why they lost a lot of their matches. So far this year, he's been a difference maker. He's made those putts, and it honestly was fun to see Keegan and Rory, laughing it up and buddying after all the Ryder Cup coming out of that. They turned right around and were able to make themselves teammates again. So that was fun to watch. I was there for it, though. That was a hell of a match. Nice little comeback for them with the hammer strategies, and I'm still so here on TGL. I am here.
What's the latest on Adam Scott and Hideki?
About in what way?
Are they out because they're hurt?
Let me look up. Yeah, because Michael Thorbjornsen, I believe, was just a sub. I don't think he's on the team now.
I think Hideki's actually injured.
That's what let's see here. Is he currently injured?
No. He withdrew from the second round of the
he's got reoccurring lower back and neck issues. So that's going to be – but that was back in 2024.
Yeah, I was about to say that's – where is Hideki?
So he did withdraw back in July 25. He had the back injury. So I don't know where he is right now, honestly. And then as far as Adam Scott, I also – because I feel like they didn't even mention Adam Scott or Hideki on the broadcast during that first match.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a little skeptical of why I can't find anything. This is good. This is great. This is great television.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Scott is not currently injured right now.
You know what? Honestly, I could also see it being a travel thing. Maybe they're both back. No, Scott lives in the States, I believe. Anyway, TGL's back. If you need something to get you through until basically the players, they've got you.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but I mean, on the 5th, I think it's the 15th that weekend, we do have some. Was it the Century's already back? We're jumping right back in.
God, we're skipping right past. No, is the Century? What got canceled?
Oh wait, that was the one. Sorry, that was the one that was out at Waikiki or what?
Hialeah.
Yeah, because that golf course. Holy shit, that golf course was in brutal shape. I can see why they. Sorry, it's the Sony Open in Hawaii at Wailea.
This is a plantation course that we're.
Yes. Yeah, that's on January 15th. Yes, you're right. The Century is the one that got canceled. My bad. You're right. That normally would have been this week right now. This
100%.
But yeah, the Sony Open coming up next weekend on January 15th. I mean, we're right back into the normal schedule, because then it's still right here in January. We have the American Express and the Farmers Insurance. So I mean, these are 3 tournaments here that we regularly kind of get things kicked off, because then immediately after that, to begin February, we're talking Phoenix Open already. We're talking Waste Management. We're talking Party City. The season's going to come.
I saw a picture there. I saw pictures the other day. Yeah, the construction's well underway.
Yeah, they got that new. They redesigned the entire gallery there.
I have a bone to pick with the PGA Championship this year.
Why is that? What bone?
Aronimink Golf Club. You have to be a golf dork to know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Yeah.
See, that's my point. Is I think I would love.
I'm a golf fan, not a golf dork, but I'm a golf fan.
I think it'd be. I mean, I would love to see newer courses in these majors. How do you break into the major? The major. I mean, I guess Bandon Dunes. They're getting there pretty soon. They've hosted this U.S. Amateur and stuff, but I don't know why this one or this agronomic pisses me off so much. I think it's because I could not. I can close my eyes and I couldn't tell you one.
Couldn't tell you what state it's in. I can tell you that much.
Pennsylvania, I knew that much.
Oh, okay. Show off.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the schedule right now. I don't actually know that
I'm
shit.
I'm 100% down for new courses. I'm like to see some different challenges, some different layouts, all that. I'm totally here for that in the majors. Real fast, because that just brought up another point on the TGL I wanted to make.
Do it.
Because I don't think you answered. Have you watched any of it yet?
No, and that's
okay.
I gotta set my DVR. I've been so elbow deep in moving and remodeling, renovating.
That's what, but so I guess you might not be able to answer this question yet, but they've gotten the newer holes on the TGL this year so far are like, they're so much more creative, and I love the changes they made, specifically I
saw a clip of one where it's like
the cliff where they have to hit the stinger shot underneath the hanging over the hangover
I saw
cliff.
that.
That I'm telling you, I love, because how do you make it more interesting that for guys to be hitting into a screen over and over again? You make them have to hit these different creative shots. You make it interesting that way. They got to hit stingers, and then they're looking at it because how did it hit the wall and bounce back? And we saw both teams. I think the winning team on that shot double bogey on that hole on the first night because they both just clanked it off the rock. They were both in the water. One team was in the water twice, but in that format, I am here for all these different creative holes, these wild, outlandish, borderline fantasy holes that you would typically see on, PGA 2K, whatever they're up to now, 26, whatever, on the creative maps. Like that, I'm here for that. Show me more of that in the TGL, because that's something we can't get. Yeah, that's something we can't get at in real life. Oh yeah, is Temple the one where they drive it real deep up into this big steep incline and let it roll back and then drop off a cliff onto the green?
That might be one. I'm thinking though. I'm trying to find the one. It's a par 3, and they have two options. Mm-hmm. There's a hill behind the green that acts as a funnel. If you can carry,
I think that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, then that might
where it rolls back down the hill towards the green.
Yeah, but I thought it was a par 3 for some reason. It's looking.
No, I think you're right. I think it is a par 3.
No, it's a par 4. The Temple, 502 yards.
It might not be called the Temple. I might just have the name wrong. But that you said the Temple, it made me think of that hole because that was the other eye popping one I saw. That was like, wow, this is really out there for creativity, but I love it.
Oh, C-Note, there it is. C-Note. Oh yeah. This thing's dope. It's an island green, so it's like an island green that is probably 240 to carry. It says it's 250 not, so it's 240 to carry. Or you can pull out, a fairway wood and hit it into this kind of funnel behind the green. But it's risk reward. It's kind of dope. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you still have to place it just right on that hill for it to roll, because you want it to roll slightly to the left as it comes down, because then once it hits the green, it all funnels down to the left, and if it doesn't catch that slope, you end up like 20, 30 feet away to the right.
Right.
So it's still, as crazy it is, it still requires like a very specific, accurate distance and shot, and I love that. I'm here for that. Anyway, that's my tangent on give me all the fantasy holes in TGL, because we can't get those in real life. Mainly because who would want to mow that?
All right, I want to find something out real quick. I'm asking who lost their card. Who are players who just outside? Well-known names. Okay, let's see here. Matt Wallace, Matt Kuchar, Zach Johnson, Cameron Tramp. So these are people who confirmed who lost their full PGA Tour cards. Just wanted to figure out what
Kuchar lost his card. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, finished outside 125. No regular says.
Oh, that's right. The new rules. That's why. That's the new rules.
Top Hundo, yeah. Cameron Champ, Camilo Bijegas, Brant Snedeker, Sneds. Tommy Fleetwood got snuck onto this, but we know that's fake news because he won the FedEx Cup last year.
Right.
Fucking A. See, now I just don't trust anything.
Yep. No, you can't trust it now. The list is shot.
All right. Well, tell me more. What is going on with TGL? TGL introduces Ladies League.
I was gonna say, you want to talk about the WTGL, because that just dropped today.
WTGL, yeah.
A few hours before the show tonight, WTGL gets launched. It looks like they're going to be eyeing a fall 2026 start time, heading into through the winter. I'll be curious to see, because we did see we talked about the idea of TGL being, right now like it is, and then in the fall as well. Like, does that fill the fall?
Right.
So I'll be curious to see if they do both, or is it just the WTGL that's going to be the fall, and then the men's will be, kicking up in January like this. I'm assuming that's what it's going to be, because they're going to want to maximize and simplify the use of that SoFi Center. But I'll tell you what, I'm excited because I'm not ashamed to say that I don't have the bandwidth in me to take in a lot of the LPGA, to know a lot of the players on the LPGA or know what's going on with the LPGA. But I feel like the TGL version, the WTGL, is going to be a great way to be introduced into the LPGA world, which obviously is a parallel to the PGA world. I'm interested to start to get to know some more female golfers, to get to know some more of the juicy storylines around some of their relationships, so that they're trash talking, the reasonings behind that, and just kind of draw me into that a little bit more. I feel like the TGL, or I keep calling it the TGL, but this form of virtual golf is going to do great things for the LPGA, because I think it's going to capture some more fans for them, and we're going to see that result for the full LPGA tour on the backside once they kick off.
Sports leagues need stars, and LPGA tour has a lack of stars from our perspective. And I think what you're saying, this is going to help elevate that, where the excellence in the skill alone doesn't seem to be enough to make it rise, or we just don't know who they are because, like you said, we're not tuned in enough. So this is going to put it front and center in front of us, where we're going to get in love. We're going to fall in love with some of these personalities. And then, I mean, like Nelly Korda is obviously, they got to try to get Nelly Korda. They got to try to get Charlie Hull. If they
haven't announced any of the.
No, they just said they're doing this thing. They got to get Nelly. They got to get Charlie. Those are the two biggest needle movers in the ladies' game when it comes from a culture standpoint.
Now, you think they're going to let Charlie Hull rip buds out there inside the SoFi Center while she's playing?
I think they should. I think I would love that. I think it's at
least let her vape. At least let her vape, right?
Let her rip a dart. It's an arena. It's an open air arena. I mean, you got somebody who's probably 2 rows down with COVID coughing, and then you got somebody behind you with the flu. If she wants to rip a lung dart before she throws a dart, I think that's perfectly fine. Let Charlie smoke. She is a smoke. Hall pass. Charlie Hull is, we'll call it a Hull pass. Never mind. I'm getting myself in trouble.
Oh, but that is, I like that. I like that. Hull
Thank
pass.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing is, like, we say Nelly Korda because she's really good. She doesn't, I mean, she's kind of got a deadpan personality. Her sister has much better personality. And so I don't
even know who her sister is. So
I'm a huge fan of this because it's a low investment. It's a low level investment. I can easily justify an hour, and by the sudden that hour is going to turn into a Sunday afternoon of me being like, wait a minute, is so-and-so playing this weekend?
Exactly.
And it's like, oh my God, they are. It's going to be the slow trickle, and the casual golfers who might have gotten into the game, they're going to have something new to look forward to. I think, honestly, too, in our era of women's empowerment and, righting some wrongs and trying to lift women up. This is a great example of, especially in a sport like golf, where genuinely, I think the golfers would at least agree, similar to the tennis world. If you take the world's best golfers in the women's game and you put them at 8,000 yards at Kiowa under those conditions that they put the PGA, and they would not be able to keep up because they just can't hit it as long. So, but I think once you handicap for that, which you can do in the game of golf, you can statistically say, hey, you hit from here, because really what the game is from this landing zone in. Then this is going to be huge for the game of golf, and especially for women's sports. It's and on the heels of, that's my second on the heels of. Although, did I say on? I texted you on the heels of. I didn't say it yet.
You texted me a few one-liners actually. You were really jumping into all of them.
How about Caitlin Clark? Who'd she tell to take $20 million and shove it recently?
Oh, I didn't. Did you hear about this? No, the last thing I saw Caitlin Clark say was that she was a fan of Drake May. So no, I did not see who she said take your $20 million and shove it. Let me see.
Caitlin Clark reportedly rejected a large offer process. A new 3-on-3 league called Unrivaled.
I feel like I've heard of that league, and this isn't news to me that she was going to reject it. I feel like
No,
that's
I think
talked about before.
But it came up before. But what it marks is like she can afford to do it because Nike's paying her $1 bajillion.
Right.
It's the the reason I brought it up is I think Live Golf might have been the last experiment with the chasing the treasure as a sole means of entertainment. We're numb to it anymore.
Yep.
It doesn't, seeing rich people get richer doesn't make our socks roll up and down. And seeing her turn this down, I still don't think it's going to all of a sudden make a bunch of people tune into the WNBA. I subscribe to the the theory that there's a major portion of the population that's not tuning into sports at all that could possibly move the needle in that direction. For what it's worth, I don't watch really basketball at all. I have nothing against the WNBA, but I understand the logical arguments of, we got to do something to generate more. And that's why I go back to sports needs stars. And if you're an insider, then you know who Asia Wilson is. You know who some of the, maybe even Diana, or was it Ionescu? That chick can throw it back from three. Caitlin Clark did something that brought us over, and now we kind of have a tangential. If she's playing, we'll check it out, and that's how these leagues grow. The NBA all of a sudden became a household thing because of Michael Jordan. It was a sports, definitely a sports with Magic and Larry. The jocks knew who these people were, but every human on planet Earth knew who Michael Jordan was, and that's who Tiger Woods was, and that's who Caitlin Clark is, and I think that's what golf is searching for, just somebody to get to that level of. And they almost had it with Nelly, but the world wasn't paying attention enough. So I think with the WTGL, we're gonna see the needle move a little bit more. That's my fifth needle moving reference, and I'm not done.
No more needles tonight. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think the WTGL is going to be interesting. I will be curious to see the other aspect of this too. Are they running with the same team, same ownership groups, and they're just taking on a female version, or are they going to have their whole own team structure, whole own ownership structure? Like, I'd be curious to see some of those details from the business standpoint as well, because it feels like with every single match so far, we're finding out about more and more celebrities and business owners coming out as becoming minority, limited share partners and owners of these teams. So I'm curious to see, do they just completely open it up to a whole new, or are these other existing ownership groups now going to have first opportunity to buy in, and it's going to be, still the Atlanta Drive and Boston Commons Golf, and they'll just, I don't know, do something to make it, separated for the female team. But those are the details that I'm now curious about.
I hear what you're saying. Do you have any idea? I don't. That's why I'm asking. I think it's gonna be similar to NASCAR, where you can have an owner that has multiple cars out on the track. Right. Where I think it's going to be, depends on who owns Boston. Because I guess Serena Williams is a part owner, to your point, of the celebrities. She's a part owner of the LA squad out there, whatever, the LA Golf Club. I think it's that same ownership group. I think what happens is Rory and the folks at Tomorrow Sports, they say, hey, here's the idea that we have. We've got something going. Let's launch a women's version. We're in with our team. We're going to put up, and I think Rory said Boston, we're going to put up the Boston fill in the blank female golf league team. Right. Who's coming with me? And I think that's where we might see it. Might start with just two teams for the first year, where they say two teams in the fall, because that might be all the buy-in they get. Two teams, and so we got like a two-week tournament in the fall between these two teams for the inaugural, or at least four teams. Where but I think that's where it's going to be. We're like, again, using the hypothetical for LA, Serena and the team get together and go, who do we want a piece of this? All right, who can we get? Right. Who knows who? And it could also be the other way around. Like, you could be pro golfers stepping up and saying, I want to buy into your franchise organization. I will bring myself and this golfer over here to the table. It's going to be interesting to watch this unfold.
See, I hope they continue to at least at minimum fall in line with the same cities as what we already have, because then I think we take that next step forward to potentially multiple locations of SoFi Center type places where they can have almost like home arenas for these different teams. I think that
East Coast, cool. West Coast. But, we've talked about this too.
Right? Yeah, we've talked about this before. But they've already. What's interesting is, because you haven't watched it, I'm not sure if you noticed, they've already kind of started to give some team ownership to some of these things, because these teams now have. I think they each have a a team designed hole. So like when I was watching the Boston matchup there, I just happened to see one of the holes. I noticed like in the background in a couple different spots, it said like LA Golf Club. Like that was like that hole was specifically the LA Golf Club home hole kind of thing, and like that. So that's kind of cool. I'll be curious to see how that kind of keeps going throughout this TGL season. What other holes and to what level did the team get to have say in the design of them? But I think ultimately I would think would be what we all want to move forward to is at least one other location. Put one in California or put one in Chicago, somewhere where it's I don't know where we can make it work.
Texas.
LA makes the most sense. I just don't know where they're gonna put it in LA. I feel like there's no room for anything out there.
I'll tell you right now. I'll bet. I'd be willing to bet just about anything. It's not going in LA, let alone the state of California. I think that's why I do think Vegas makes a shit ton of sense.
Well, you know what they want? They probably want tax free, like Florida is, because this is like side gig money. So they want probably tax free stuff. That makes sense. Vegas makes a lot of sense, actually.
Vegas, or the furthest east. I think that second location somewhere in Texas, like in the DFW area. Because Dallas, because also then you introduce the Dallas Golf Club and the Texas team, and you've got such a hotbed of talent there in Dallas. We talked about this before. Did you see real fast? Where do you stand on the Gatorade? I think we've already talked about this. The Let Her Cook campaign. Do you remember this?
I don't remember this now.
It's just because it came up recently. The WNBA. I think now that I'm looking at it, this is from July, so we must have just glazed past it.
Yeah, probably.
It just fell flat. They were trying to because let him cook. That's a phrase. Let him cook. Yep. He's on a roll. They did this whole thing. Let her cook, and I get what they were trying to do, but it just failed miserably. And I don't know why I felt like coming back and dunking on the WN or Gatorade there for a second, but the WNBA had me thinking.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. I love it.
So let's get into some. So we've kind of caught ourselves up on some PGA, some LPGA, whatever you want to call all these things. There was this. And I don't remember how much we got into because I honestly forget the timing of it. How much we got into the Internet Invitational? I think we were already off the air for the season.
We were off, yeah.
Yeah, we were already off the air. It happened like right after. But before we dive full on into the Internet Invitational, obviously I just want to take our chance to start by saying thoughts and respect for Cody B. Frank. If you're not familiar with that, Cody, Beef was a personality for Barstool Sports with the Foreplay guys. He's a PGA Tour pro, or was a PGA Tour pro. Unfortunately, lost him to health issues. I forget exactly when it was, but he was only 31 years old. It was towards the end of last year. But he was just his last kind of appearance on the screen was the Internet Invitational because they had obviously filled that ahead of time. And if you didn't watch it, spoiler alert.
No spoilers at this point.
Massive.
First of all, if you're watching or listening to this, you absolutely watched it.
But obviously the massive tearjerker at the end of that because he was on the winning team, and then I just what got me the most was the absolute magical editing of the way they edited those last moments of that last episode for that final. I've never seen a more perfectly edited moment on screen where you didn't even it literally took me like 10 seconds into the set, like the way they were doing the segment of starting to really focus in on Beef with the handshakes, and like it took me a while to even realize that I was in the moment with him there and how they were playing some voiceover from previous in the tournament and things he said, and it was so effortlessly and smoothly put into it. Whoever edited that and put that together, one of the best things I've ever seen sports related on a screen. I loved it. I think it set a bar for the future Internet Invitationals that I'm honestly kind of afraid that it's never going to be topped. And I'm afraid it might be the death of the Internet Invitational because I'm not sure how they top this first one. Like it had everything. It had the Beef stuff obviously, but it also just had controversy. It had underdog stories. It had excitement. It had choke jobs. It had freaking Luke Kwan and that fiasco. It had literally everything and it was so natural and unplanned and just organically all happened and just happened to be in front of a million cameras. How do they beat that? I'm not sure how they can do it again.
I think that's the issue, or has always been the kind of lingering issue with quote unquote YouTube golf as a sustainable, like, what is the ceiling of YouTube golf? And I think we might, like you pointed out, we might have seen it for now. The individual contributors make buku bucks on their own. Paige and Bob and the guys, I mean, they're doing quite nice on their own. So when it comes to this, the YouTube golf, I think this proves the earlier point where what's funny is the $1 million that was split between the winning team made a huge difference to those folks.
Of course, it's still $1 million.
Paige, I use Paige as an example because I want to say she even donated her pros. They all donated. A bunch of them ended up donating.
So I believe
family or whatever.
I know she did at least, but I know there was others. I just forget.
I know there was a handful that did because she doesn't need the money. She probably wasn't really there for the money, other than more so it was just good brand awareness. She
turned down extra money multiple times where Dave kept trying to bait them into these side bets to make it more interesting, and not a single one of them took it.
They don't need it. It's not about that. It's just for them. They just want to go. And that's the beauty of golf, is every single time you get to tee it up, you get another shot at conquering the course, your opponents, your inside demons. And if you, Dave, or whoever's on the outside trying to chirp and if what's on your agenda is not on my agenda, I don't have to take the bait. I can just keep focused. But it was so good that, like you were saying, it's hard to capture it again. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. I think this is going to be much more of a. It's not like, look, we could probably do 3 of these a year, because I guarantee you, it's not going to get the. It's not going to get the.
It's too big of a production for them for.
It might have been just too perfect, and they would admit that too. Sometimes that's all it is, one and done. We can never do this again. That doesn't mean that next year or later this year they're not going to do another golf tournament. They're just never going to call it the Internet Invitational again. They just can't do that again.
No, I think they are. So as far as I know, they're calling. They are. It's already in the works. They're calling it that. And I don't know the exact number, but I've already heard that the prize pool is already going to be doubled, or it's going to be significantly more than this past one. So this will be interesting, because we've mentioned how Liv just throwing money and trying to change the world only worked for a short amount of time. What's the threshold from a YouTube golf standpoint?
Yeah, never mind. I was way off.
I'll be very curious to see, because they're even talking about bringing in more professional athletes and bigger names to play.
All right, let's find out. Who is this coming from?
I want to say there was talk of bringing Tony Romo into play. There was talks of bringing in these established professional athletes to join the Invitational next year.
Well, they got Caitlin Clark.
Yep.
And Kai Trump.
I did see the Kai Trump one, who was just her first LPGA recently, a couple months ago, right?
She's sharp. She plays a lot of golf with Bryson down in South Florida, apparently, too. And fun fact, her mom is dating Tiger Woods. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I did not
Tiger
know
Trump.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Who takes whose last name? If you're Vanessa Trump, because she is, I think say it's Eric. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, Tiger Woods is dating a Trump. He could be Kai Trump's stepdad. Oof, weird. Right. Tigre, 50 years old, Champions Tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's coming. We're gonna see it eventually.
I think so. I think so too, and I think he's gonna absolutely dog stomp. And I think what's going to happen is he's going to, as soon as he accepts that it's over, he's not, there's no lightning he's gathering and getting 3 more majors. Although I will say this, if you told me that Tiger Woods ripped off 3 of the next 5 Masters, just the Masters, I would say, yeah, I could see it. I could see where he gets into this weird space, kind of like he did with the U.S. Amateur, where all I got to do was focus on one tournament a year and just gear up for it and really focus on it and go out there. which people would say he's been doing that anyways. No, he hasn't been doing that. He's been
No.
saving the PGA Tour. He's been launching tomorrow's sports.
He's also not been healthy.
And he's been a dad, for crying out loud.
Right.
He's been all over the place with Charlie and Sam. So, all of a sudden now maybe he starts to settle. Really what's interesting to him is to see him as a dad. He says the recruiting stuff with Charlie is kind of interesting.
That's right. I didn't even think about it with his age. Yeah, he's fully in on
he'll end up going and
right now.
He'll end up going probably to like Florida. Charlie Woods is not good enough to go to Oklahoma State or UF or Florida State or one of the genuine top tier elite, even if his last name is Woods. They don't hand those out. But he is probably, and that's right now. He could have a leap in the next year and become one of those elites. But right now, from what I was reading, is he's much more of that mid D1 tier where it's like Florida Gulf Coast, Florida Atlantic, whichever one. I think there's like Florida Palm Beach University, wherever the headquarters of TGL is. I think is it Florida University of Florida Palm Beach or something like that.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, it's a smaller school. Yeah,
that's where he's going to end up going, playing on the golf team. And because believe it or not, golf is one of those sports where you don't have to go to a big school to then go play pro or even to excel in the NCAA level. Does it help?
You just have to be one good golfer, and you can, because they have both team and individual prizes at the NCAA level. So like you just have to be good, and no matter where you are, you just happen to then carry that school name up the leaderboard with you.
Yeah.
So I could see. Do you think Charlie Woods is good enough to bring notoriety to a somewhat unknown school if you were to go to a lesser known school? Like, do you think he's good enough to bring them to?
His dad was so good at golf. His dad was good enough that Charlie Woods.
I'm just saying his play standing on its own. Forget obviously Tiger's going to bring he's going to have media attention, but just his play alone.
There's levels to this thing. Yeah, he can go out and shoot 64, 65, whatever it is. And now he's done it. He's won some junior tournaments, and he's got all this other. So yeah, he's definitely got the possibility to bring some notoriety. And golf, much like college football, the parity is becoming more and more. Right.
All right. So while we still got
I had to plug in my computer.
Oh, you came unplugged. While we still, because everyone knows that how you're football, college, and me football, NFL one. Now we have a few minutes here. Obviously, I want to get your take because I think you purposely ignored me in the text when I said, "Oh no, not Ole Miss."
I was just what's
your take? I was gonna say, what's your takeaway from Georgia falling to Ole Miss in the playoffs?
Hell of a run. I mean, 100 D1 teams, 60 reality in those Power 5 school or Power 4 conferences. And we lost by a field goal. That's exactly. I look back at the 22 when we repeated, we won by a field goal, meaning Ohio State had to miss a field goal for us to get to the national title game and then lay the wood to TCU. Wasn't even competitive. So, I mean, I'm spoiled as a sports fan. Georgia won 2 of the national titles in the last, back-to-back a couple years ago. We were almost there last year, we were in the playoff last year. Once again, first round bye. Then we get exited this year, first round bye. We were there though. 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. It wasn't like, and we were 3rd and 5. We were a 3rd and 5 away. It was a 3rd and 5 blown coverage that put him into field goal range. It was that close. So does it? So
it's not like you got blown out by Ole Miss, it was
not like what happened to Bama, where they just got dog stomped by Indiana. So no, it was awesome. I'm excited for the rest of the playoff. I kind of want Ole Miss to. I would love the Indiana story to continue in Kirk Cignetti and just that rise.
It's a good story.
But the homer in me really wants – I wouldn't mind Dan Lanning. He's a former Georgia guy. He was our defensive coordinator on those teams and went back-to-back. So I'm pleased with how the college game is going right now and the direction it's heading. I think the portal's a shit show. I think they need to get the schedule together. And Dan Lanning, again, had a great explanation for this. He goes, I'll fix it right now. In college,
I saw
week 0. They call it week 0. And I even say, take all the bowl games. If you don't make the playoffs, then you qualify for a bowl game that is played to open the following season. These players don't. A lot of them, I get. Like, what about those guys? It's not. Sorry, it ain't about the players. It's about the money that can be generated from these bowl games. And if the players are going to start sitting out bowl games, then nobody's going to tune in. So it's shit. So you take the bowl games and you make the openers. All right, you didn't get into the playoff, but you were 9-3. Then you get to play in the Cheez-It Bowl, and you're going to kick off against SMU. So you start
like thinking like a bunch of almost like the way the college basketball starts off with a bunch
with this tip-off tournament. Yeah, you do that and you take away a bye week because they don't need 2 bye weeks. So you start you start at week 0, you run the season, and then you just go straight through December. You take back December and the Saturdays, and the national title game is always New Year's or right after New Year's, that first Saturday after, or it's always New Year's Day or the next week. Take it back and get out of the way because this portal stuff is insane, out of control. I think money that's getting thrown around to these kids. I just listened to Dan Patrick this earlier today. Somebody's paying $5 million. Oh, Texas Tech's next quarterback is coming over from Cincinnati. Texas Tech got that oil money down there, or oil.
Yeah, making more than a first round NFL quarterback.
Why? Yeah, and it's not like in basketball where they have the option to leave after the first year. In football, you still have to be 3 years removed from high school. So, but the Arch Manning effect of why would you go to the NFL? I can make another $5 to $10 million with NIL and endorsements, get some more reps here, and make myself a more attractive. So the NIL has all this negatives that are coming along with it. The positive is that we're probably just going to end up getting a better product in the NFL.
And it's still early in the lifespan of this new NIL too. Like they're gonna balance it out because I think they are slowly. There's too much talk about it now. Like there's too many eyes on the negatives right now about how the NIL is affecting these schools in a way. So like there's gonna end up coming a balance shifting back to where they're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be probably a couple more years of them trying to figure out how it works, like the perfect symbiosis of it. Ooh, symbiosis. Okay.
Nice.
Of how it all works.
Symbiosis.
There we go. So they'll figure it out. I mean, once again, when it comes to college football, I'm a Boston College fan, and all I know is that we just lost our best offensive weapon to Indiana.
Well, and again, it's professionalizing college football even more, which I'm okay with, because if people, you can't do that, then you can't have the money and all the other fruits of the labor that comes along with it. But if we're going to do it, then, I think just tailor the educational experience. First of all, I want these kids getting an education. If you've talked to people, I don't, no buys, no free passes, make them learn some shit, make them know how to have a conversation, make them know how to book a flight, make them know how to balance their checkbook.
Yeah, at least make them take some like some life classes. Like I still remember, like one of my best college classes was literally a half semester class that was all about how to function like credit cards. Like, it was all about like credit. It was learn about
APR, learn about credit.
Exactly, it was learning about all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, I remembered all that,
and I use it all. Because these kids, even if there's a guy at Barstool, one of the guys, they asked him, he's a former offensive lineman. He's like, what was your NIL? What was your last check? He's like $300,000, $400,000, something like that. Yeah. People don't understand like that has the potential to be life-changing money. It especially when you're 19, 20 years old. If you're smart with it. If you go drop it on a Lamborghini or something, then
that money's gone now forever.
That's kind of the thing that I was pissed off about, was the missed opportunity between the Miami and Georgia matchup that would have happened, because University of Miami, Carson Beck is their quarterback. He was our starting quarterback. He went down to Miami. And now he walks around like black turtlenecks and sports coat with a gold chain, driving a Lamborghini. And our quarterback is Gunnar Stockton, who drives his grandfather's 1984 Ford F-150.
Right. Just polar opposites. Let's see this go down.
One of these things is not like the other. Well, the NFL, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? The playoffs are set.
I've not seen a more up for grabs year in a long time when it comes to the NFL. I still think the champion is going to come from the NFC. I think I think the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers still probably have the best chances out of anybody from either side in the playoffs, just because they have a bit more of a pedigree about them. They have a bit more depth and structure about them that's proven. It doesn't mean like the Patriots can't go out there and
but they've won it before. When it's muscle memory to win. Does anybody have more pressure on him than Josh Allen?
It's not. Honestly, I don't. Josh Allen doesn't have the pressure on him. McDermott does. Sean McDermott has the pressure on him. Sean McDermott could take this team to the like Josh Allen does too. Like you're right. I can't say Josh Allen doesn't because
that's that's fair though because if
with what he's working with, he's still like
the
one of the
reason
best
I say
in the league.
The reason I think there's more on Josh Allen is because, and you pointed out too, it's not going to be Josh Allen who takes the fall if they don't make it. No. And I think that's why there is more pressure on him because he even knows if they fall short, it's not like they're going to be like, Josh, we had a good run, but Sean's our guy. We're sticking with him. They're going to look at him and say,
Brady at the end of the career.
Yeah, Josh, you're a unit. They don't grow you on trees. And no matter how brilliant this guy is, we think that we can find somebody else to get us over the finish line.
The Bills are going to fire Sean McDermott if they don't make it to the Super Bowl.
They
can lose in the AFC Championship, and they will fire Sean McDermott because he hasn't been able to pull it off yet. And the big reason why that will become a reality now is because there is a coach like John Harbaugh on the market now because he just got fired by the Ravens today.
Oh, wow. Come on down, Todd Monken.
Because there's a proven pedigree like stud coach like Harbaugh out there right now, the Bills will in a heartbeat drop Sean McDermott for him because I think Harbaugh would be the thing that would put them over the edge because they have Cook, they got Allen, they got the offense, they got the defense. They just need some receivers mixed in there to make it kind of all really work together. But they even said that within a half hour of the news of Harbaugh being fired by the Ravens today, he got calls from 7 different teams.
Yeah,
his
last name's Harbaugh.
No. That's not the surprising part. The interesting tidbit here is that there is currently publicly 7 open coaching vacancies, including the one he just got fired from. So that means there's one team out there that made a call who has not fired their coach yet, which most likely means it is a playoff team. And out of the teams in the playoffs that are probably most likely to be looking for a new head coach, it's going to be most likely the Bills, in my opinion. Or the Steelers, but then again, the Steelers have already come out publicly and said they're not going to part ways with Mike Tomlin. So I think the Bills have already made
I've also seen a lot of athletic directors and owners who say our coach is our coach and they have our full confidence.
But the Steelers have a history.
The Steelers are the exception. The Steelers are the exception. I'll grant you that. Yeah. They're some of the most reliable. If I could bet futures, I would bet that Mike Tomlin is the coach for the Steelers next year. Correct. John Harbaugh getting the axe is interesting because it goes to the same question I would ask the Ravens. I'd ask the Bills. Who are you getting? Like who?
So that's the problem. But they obviously just need. I don't disagree with the fact that they need some sort of change in Baltimore because they've had the star in Jackson. They're only going to have Henry the past couple of years.
They're only going to have a couple more years of that where those two are effective. So
they're looking for a difference maker.
Are they looking for a difference maker? Or are they looking for a patsy? Are they looking for maybe like a Bill Belichick who it's like, hey, come run
for that?
Yeah, come. Belichick would not be a patsy, but
no. But I know what you mean. They're looking for someone to take the fall on the back end now, as they know they're going down.
Yeah, they're all right. We're gonna let Lamar run the offense, and which is basically going to be either if you see blitz, give it to Derek. If you don't, do what you want to do, and then we just need somebody to just stand there and be the field trip coordinator who. Stand-in coach who's the coach for LeBron, one of LeBron's teams, and everybody's like, yeah, that guy, the coach. Was it Ty Lue?
Yeah, I think he was the biggest one, the one we heard the most about. That was that. Yeah, he just kind of stood there.
Sit over there.
Even to some extent, that's Jason Kidd on the Lakers now too. With him, Jason Kidd ain't coaching shit.
Or JJ Redick, you mean on the Lakers?
Oh, sorry, not Jason Kidd. You're right. JJ Redick is who I meant. Yes.
Dude,
yeah, Jason Kidd's somewhere else though. I forget where Jason Kidd is now though.
Dallas. I don't know why I know. It's because of Dan
Patrick. Those two white shooting basketball players. It's hard. It mixes them up easy.
All right, land the plane.
Land the plane with that one. Look, guys, thank you for joining us back. Episode 1, kicking off season 5 here on Divots and Pivots. We're back every Tuesday night at 8:00. I'm Andrew LeDuc. This is Bud Copeland. And join us next week here on YouTube on That Sports Podcast Network, or if you hear us on the audio, Spotify and Apple Podcasts every Wednesday morning at 8:00 as well. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.